Fabulous Frogs by Martin Jenkins, illustrated by Tim Hopgood. This frog is huge for a frog. It's a Goliath frog, and it lives in Western Africa. It's the biggest frog in the world. Sometimes it eats other frogs. These frogs are tiny. This is the smallest kind of frog in the world, or at least the smallest that anybody knows about. It lives in Papua New Guinea. And this frog has a very strange nose. It's called Darwin's frog, and it lives in South America. No one really knows why it has a pointy nose. This frog can, jump really quickly. It's striped rocket frog from Australia. It can jump 16 feet, 5 meters in one go. Very handy for escaping from enemies in a hurry. And these ones make an awful lot of noise. Chirp, honk, quack, quack, croak, ribbit. Frogs call to let other frogs know that they are there. These are all male frogs. Female frogs are generally much quieter. The big one in the middle is a bullfrog. This one is called a flying frog, although it really can't fly. It lives in trees and forests in South Asia. It spreads out the skin between its toes to help it float in the air when it can jump from tree to tree. And this one is a hairy frog, although it doesn't have any real hair. This frog lives in Western Africa. The things that look like hairs are little strips of skin. They probably help the frog breathe when it's underwater. I think these frogs are very beautiful. I couldn't tell which one is the most beautiful, but I can tell you that each one could kill a horse, though only if the horse was silly enough to try to eat it. A horse wouldn't eat a frog on purpose, but plenty of other animals might. South American poison arrow frogs have deadly poison in their skin to help protect them. Their bright colors are a way of saying, "Keep away." These frogs make a nest of foam for their eggs. They're African gray tree frogs. Their nests hang in the branches over ponds of streams. When the eggs in the nest hatch, the tadpoles wriggle out and drop in the water below. And the ones with the very strange nose looks after its babies and its throat. The male Darwin's frog snaps up the eggs just before they hatch and keeps the tadpoles in a special pouch in his throat. You'd think he would swallow them all the way down by accident, but he never seems to. This frog never leaves the water. It's an African clawed frog. It spends its whole life living in a stream or pond. Not many frogs do that. This frog can live buried in the ground for years and years, waiting for the rain. It's an Australian water holding frog, and it lives in the desert. It makes a little room for itself where it stays cool and damp. When it rains and the ground gets wet, the frog digs itself out. As I'm reading, pick your favorite frog. All these frogs are wonderful, but my favorite frog is the medium-sized greeny brown one that sits on a lily pad in my backyard. Here's our lily pad. Here's our lily pad. And here's the favorite frog. I think I'm going to go ahead and make an expression. Should we make it happy? Sad? Let's make it a singing frog. There he is. Okay. Well, thank you for reading Fabulous Frogs with Me by Martin Jenkins, illustrated by Tim Hopgood.